Okay, transaction options. Up to now we discuss about masters. Master objects are more of infrastructure objects. With transaction we actually start the business logic in the Canteen software. We have various transactions running under the system. These are visibly item supply, vendor payment, order payment and voucher. Let's start from inventory or vendor perspective first. We talk about item supply first. Item supply transaction is a relation between the Canteen and the vendor Canteen has. By default, the listing of the item supplies would be duration bound. We can supply the period and see the transactions of item supply. As we can see in the screen, there are various item supplies. Item supply means the supply of items to the Canteen by the vendor. So to add an item supply to the system, we have the screen. We have a supply number generated automatically, and we have supply date. We can choose from this wizard. Then the vendor. For instance, I select this vendor. Now whatever items have been supplied, we need to put in the system. We'll select one of these category. Accordingly, I will get the items in the product type. For instance, I select category as ration. So whatever possible product types under rations would be visible over here. I will just add the products. Under this product, all the items will come. There is one, so it will come like this, and then I can select the sub items. There are two types of sub item under sugar, so I will select sugar. Once I select sub items, the rate will come accordingly from the masters, and I will just mention the quantity. If any adjustment soever, I can add it here. Then I click on add. So my one sub item has been added. Similarly, I can add a number of items for item supply. Coffee, self-made. To precise, I will take say I take a ready-made, and I will say cold drink. All the cold drink items. These are sub item of cold drink. I will say Fanta 15 and say quantity maybe 12. I will add. So likewise, I can add as many items as I want in item supply. Then I can also put adjustment value for whole of item supply. Over here it is showing me the previous outstanding also. That's for the vendor. So I can save it. It goes in the system. We can see it here like this. If I want, I can edit the transaction by adding more records, or I can delete the existing one like this. Okay, this is how the item supply transaction happens between the Canteen and the vendor. I can display the list of item supply transaction on my wheel, changing the duration. I can make it from 6th May 2013 till 6th July 2013. I can click on display item. I will find there is only one transaction which has just happened, or I can increase the period by this from February to July. I will see these many transactions have happened. So this is about the item supply transaction and the payment. Whatever item supply has been given by the vendor to the Canteen has to be adjusted against the vendor payment. I can see the number of payments made by the Canteen to the vendor by specifying that period. I can see the detail of the payment like this. To add a vendor payment, I will just click on vendor payment. Vendor payment ID would be generated automatically. I can choose the date of payment. I can select the vendor Tiwari Chips Wala. The outstanding as of now is 422 rupees. I can select one of these modes available, either by cash or check or card. car type could be one of these. So let's take a cash of say 200 rupees or whatever. So my detail have come like this. I can view it. I can edit it, or I can delete it like this. Let's go back to the first transactions. Now we move on to the most important transaction, which is order. As of now, it is showing me the list of all the orders in between 6/5/2013 and 6/7/2013. Now just to add order, let's start by clicking on add. This is my screen. It shows me order number, so it is generated automatically. I can specify order at over here. Now I can select the customer, and the customer would be the users. I take a customer, for instance, a person named Karan Mujo, who is actually working in a department called creative under office bits. After that, I will select whatever order has been given by this guy. For instance, if he has asked for snacks, veg snacks, I will just veg snacks, butter toast, 2 quantity. I will just add. And suppose he has also ordered a cold drink, so I will just say item cold drink, say Coke 200 ml, quantity 1, add. If I click on save, it says order charge to cannot be blank. Now the order could be charged to the user itself, or it can be charged to office under which user work. There are occasions when order can be charged to office, and there are two occasions. One, when the mass orders are sponsored by office, specific for office parties, etc., or this order has been given by a user for the visitors. So either he can select self, that means the order will be charged to him, or office. Once he select office, he has to select the office on whose behalf he is giving order, and subsequently the amount would be added to the outstanding of the office. Once he adds office, then he has to provide the guest organization. As I just said, it's solely for the purpose of visitor feeding on the behalf of office for that particular user. For instance, Karan Muzo is a user who is in creative department. He was called his vendor for some shoot, a TVC shoot. So he will just write fantasy TV shoots, guest names, Mike, description. Then I will say save. Once he does that, the order would be booked, whose worth is 34 rupees. We can see the details of this order by clicking on view, and we can see the order number is 9285. It was booked on this date 6/7/2013. Another user who has the code U0013, the name is customer Karan Muzo. But this order, since was sponsored by office, it was booked under office Bates, whose ID is office ID. For these many reasons, so this amount of 34 would be added to office. So user outstanding will not be affected by this. So I can see details of this order like this. If I want, I can delete this order, so it will undo the whole process, or I may change the order by adding more quantities. Okay, I can see that delete and edit tabs are disabled for many of the orders. Why so? So I just click on edit and I get the message, cannot edit this detail, it's older than 3 days. That is a rescue statement which is provided in the system just to ensure that no tampering is possible in the system. It says that any order which is past 3 days cannot be edited or deleted. So my order has been booked just now, so I can edit as well as delete it, but we can view any order at any point of time. Okay, so next transaction is order payment. The payment would be made by two entities, either by the user or by the office. We can see the details of all the order payments from say it's 5 till now. We can see the details. We have the description over here, the order payment ID, the date of payment, payment by, either it would be the user or it would be the office, like oh, I can't see any office payment in this period, so I may change the period and say it. Or I can further increase the duration. Okay, I can see one record over here that shows the payment done by office. I can see the details of this. So this payment was done on 21st of January 2013 by office, ID 1 Bates. The payment mode was cash, amount was 1000. This is how office settle his payments. And for instance, we see a payment by the user, say Vijay Kumar. I will just click on view and see the details. It was done on 21st of January by a user Vijay Kumar, who is part of IT Bates. Mode was cash and 2000. Just to add in payment, we have a screen like this. We'll select the date. Payment would be done by either office or user, so we can accordingly select pay. Once I select user, I will given the list of the users. I can select whatever user I want. I will say Asugandha, who is an account management Bates, or I can select office and select any of the office. And then I can select the mode of payment. It could be either cash, check or card. Accordingly the screen will be generated dynamically, and I specify the amount. Amount can't be 0, so I have to add something to this. So this is similarly we can also edit. We can edit the amount value of an payment. As far as delete is concerned, it will again give me a message. Now for order payment, if payment is older than a week, it can't be deleted. So that's the validation taken. The next is voucher. Basically vouchers are the rescue utilities. The vouchers could be of two types. Let me first show you how to add a voucher. Now the vouchers would be added by a canteen staff for a user or for office, and could be of either debit or credit type. This could be used in a situation where user amounts needs to be added or removed from the system, apart from payments or order scenarios. Maybe a user has left, he has not paid, so that would be a bad debt. So this amount can be put in the system just to make his balance 0 in the form of debit voucher. Maybe a user, for instance, Sonali Sharma, who has left the organization, who was part of business development department of Wall Street Landscape, and she had a say outstanding of 2000 rupees which she didn't pay. So a canteen staff, just to make everything 0 for her can debit can credit 2000 rupees on her behalf and settle her outstanding. These are the case that would be used rare, but they could be used, hence the provision has been kept in the system. So credit voucher means giving a credit to the user. Maybe sometime user has paid extra, or so some credit has to be given to him, so a credit voucher can be passed. Similarly, a debit voucher can be passed if we need to increase outstanding of a user apart from order payment, orders, or for anything. Might be a less order has been issued by mistake for him and 3 days have passed, so order can't be changed. So either order can be added freshly or a debit note can be added to the user. For instance, if need to add 500 rupees to a user, say or for instance to office Bates, payment mode would be say card or say check, whatever, cash. So office has paid 500 rupees, it could be via order payment also, or maybe via the credit voucher also. So this amount would be debited to the user or the office account. So the voucher is to facilitate the increase or decrease in the outstanding of a user or office out of the order or order payments. So that was the purpose of voucher. I know this module would not be used very often, but it's a slight precautionary utility which has been incorporated in the system. One more thing for which this could be beneficial, for instance, we have just seen that the opening balance for a user can't be changed after it has been added. For instance, there is a user, say Vijay, I want to add it. I can't change the opening balance, but if by mistake it was written 3000 but actually it was say 3500, so I had to pass a credit note. Suppose I have to add now 500 rupees more to the Vijay in opening balance. I can't do it because I can't put it under order or another way, so I have to take the help of voucher. Voucher will enable me to add or detect the outstanding of the user. So I can always come to add voucher, select user Vijay and debit amount of say 500, save. That means the earlier outstanding which I by mistake added 3000 for that user, I can add a debit voucher of 500, thereby resolving my mistake and making the outstanding correctly to 3500. That is more or less the use of voucher exactly. So the next module is reports.